Hi class, Dr. Colson. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 13, which is Disciplining Students with Disabilities. So I'm going to give you a scenario and then we're going to talk about what that means about disciplining students and things like that. So a child runs out of control down the busy school hallway and punches another child who is quietly waiting in line outside her classroom. She starts to cry while the disruptive child continues down the hall, not responding to the teacher's aide command to stop. Another adult says, "He's special ed. There's nothing that we can do. You can't send him to detention. I'll tell his teacher." The aide is frustrated and upset as she confronts the crying child. A child who is labeled seriously emotionally disturbed sets a trash can on fire. When brought to the principal's office, the security specialist told that it's a manifestation of the child's disability and the usual disciplinary procedures will not be followed. The security specialist leaves muttering, "Those kids get away with murder." Both examples are serious, wrongful misunderstandings of the procedural safeguards of the Individuals with Disability Education Act, better known as IDEA. IDEA procedural safeguards were designed to assure that students with disabilities, those receiving special ed and related services, were not arbitrarily removed from their parent-approved program without consent and were guaranteed a free, appropriate public education, which we call FAPE, within the least restrictive environment, the LRE. There is nothing in IDEA which restricts schools from disciplining children with disabilities. In fact, some would say that they're not addressing these dangerous behaviors the student with special needs. If they're not addressing the behaviors, then students with special needs may not be receiving an appropriate education. Both of these children may need specialized services to change the disruptive and dangerous behavior to make sure whatever discipline is used works in preventing the reoccurrence of that behavior. So in this chapter, you're going to learn more about what are those things that schools can implement, or what does the law say, especially about alternative education placement, the amount of time that you can suspend students, what is a manifestation hearing, how do you determine if the behavior is a manifestation of their disability. Also, what about in IEPs? How do we address behavior in IEPs? Can you put things in IEPs? What is a FBA, a functional behavior assessment? What is a BIP, a behavior intervention plan? What happens if students are caught with weapons or drugs, or if they seriously harm or an intent to seriously harm another student? What happens then? So make sure you pay attention to Chapter 13. I've got your PowerPoint here. Also have the chapter reading, which will talk about what we just discussed a little more in depth and hopefully answer those questions for you. I have a couple of videos here. This one's about manifestation determination. I have another legal brief that talks about suspensions and expulsions. When can you suspend or expel students with disabilities? They may not necessarily go under the same exact rules that a school system may have in place. A lot of times, this is where schools get in trouble, is they mishandle behavior issues and don't necessarily follow what the law requires. So I have your VoiceThread discussion and your Chapter 13 quiz and your self-check. We'll see you next time. Bye.